That ain't thunder. That's Logisticize rolling in. Headlights cut, small town night, dust flies up in the neon light. Hauling miles with a heavy load, pulling up on the gravel road. Steel toe boots on a wooden stage, a little rust and a rebel rage. From the back roads to the show, when the engine starts, you know. Feel that rumble in your chest, like a diesel hard out west. We're Logisticize, going loud and mean. Red dirt rebels on the gasoline dream. Turn it up, let the tailgate drive. We don't slow down, we don't ever stop. From the back road straight to your soul. We came here just to lose control. If you're ready, let me hear you shout. Logisticize is rolling out. Six-string crying, a kick jump pound, booty heel stomping on southern ground. Cold drinks raised till the night's on fire, bringing heat like a flat-out tire. No GPS on a rebel route. We don't ask where we don't have doubt. If there's a stage in a wild crowd, crank it up and we play it loud. Feel that shake in the floor. That's the sound you waited for. We're Logisticize, roll loud and mean. Red dirt rebels on the gasoline train. Turn it up, let the tailgate drop. We don't slow down, we don't ever stop. From the back row straight to your soul. We came here just to lose control. If you're ready, let me hear you shout. Logisticize is rolling out. Well, Logisticize coming in hot, full tank fire, give it all we got. Let it rip like a midnight ride, bring in thunder you can't deny. From the black top to your hometown bar tonight, we're taking it way too far. So throw 'em up, let the whole world shout. Logisticize is in the house. Welcome to Logisticize 104. Hosted by Doug Holbrook. Y'all ready? Let's ride.
All right, Fleet, how are we doing out there today? I want to welcome all you guys to the first Logisticize 104 podcast. We're going to do these each and every Friday at 104 in the afternoon when you guys are on your way home. One of the reasons that we decided to go this route was last year we did some online meetings for safety meetings, and the feedback that we got from you guys was that, hey, we'd rather do this online or not in person and save our time and stay home with our families. So after listening to you guys, we decided to do this podcast because one thing that was missing with you guys being here in the office was we were getting feedback directly from you. So the stuff out there with the fleet, we want to get your guys' voice in on this. And here today to join us for the first one's Rick. So Rick, why was this important for you to be in here for this first podcast, and why did you agree to let us do this?
So one of the things I want to do is welcome everybody. It is it's a way that we want to utilize to have feedback. We're all very busy. It seems like this life just keeps getting busier and busier. Used to be you could grab a cup of coffee and talk to someone. But boy, anymore it's you're kind of in and out, and you're pretty busy. So one of the things is, as we got away from regular in-person drivers meetings, I had a little bit of concern on, hey, I'd like the feedback from the guys. I'd like to hear what they had to say or some of the inputs they had, because that really helped guide our company here. Has always been from the guys on the front line. And so when Doug had said something about doing a podcast, to be able to reach out, I'm like, it's excellent. And then he said I had to be on the first one. I'm like, well, I don't really want to be, but here I am and such. So I appreciate Doug putting it together. I appreciate you guys that are joining in, and those that in the future that will hear us talk about different items here, such. But the whole thing is, we want you guys' feedback. There's issues out there every day, every week that we all have. You guys are sometimes different than ours, sometimes it's the same, but we both need to see each other's point of view and get information out and information back, Doug. So that's a real reason I wanted to get this done.
Okay, well, so one of the reasons that that we can move to this and get out of the in-person meetings is, let's talk about the first quarter we've had this year and the turnaround in safety. our accidents, and it provides us the freedom to do this without having to drag everyone to the office. So I know that was one of your concerns, was being able to reach out, see them face to face, and talk to them. Based on the problems we had last year with our accidents, and quite a few inspections that didn't go our way. So what was one of the determining factors that you had that you thought, hey, this would be great, and the guys are doing well enough that we can pull this off?
Well, one of the things is when we switched about 8 or 10 years ago from having a big drivers meeting to having just maybe 8 to 10 people in a classroom, a lot of times it was a conversation between the guys that really made the difference, because I can set up here and say, hey, you guys ought to do this, this, and this. And someone else would say, well, Rick, that's right, but maybe this and this is a better way. And then a conversation would come around, and here, lo and behold, somebody else in that room's already got the answer or another suggestion to do something. So is very important to have that avenue to talk. And the other thing is, as far as like the safety, there is, through the years, I could kind of call some guys on the carpet every once in a while, I guess is what you want to say. I would say, all right, we had this accident and blah, 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 whatever happened. And I turned to the guy who happened to be in the room that had that accident. I was like, explain what happened. And that's one of the things that was very nice, to be able to hear their explanation and other guys give the input. Sometimes the input was what we had been telling people: slow down, watch other people and such. But the real value was they were hearing it from peers, Doug. They were hearing it from somebody else who was on the road and saying, hey, I need to change this and that. But, you're right. We look at the safety rating, and Doug's probably got the numbers here somewhere about what we've improved. Outstanding is the only word I can say. You guys out there are really watching what is going on. We're seeing that trucks are moving safer up and down the road. Drivers are in better moods. Freight still getting delivered. Accidents are down. And it's not always about, oh, they're having a good month because they didn't have an accident. Okay, that's good. Absolutely true. We don't want accidents. But what we really look at is sometimes the numbers that lead to having accidents, and it's speed, or it's following too close, or insecure load, or whatever it would be. We really look at those things, and we want to continue to improve on those. No, we don't want to have an accident. Nobody out there wants to be involved in an accident, but we want to be able to utilize what we see and know to help somebody avoid that upcoming accident, Doug. And that's been kudos to you as too, Doug, for putting your effort and such into it, and putting out the YouTube videos, and putting out the other things that we do to just inform guys. And guys, it's one of those things, we all get tired of hearing the same message over and over again. But that's how we learn things. It takes 7 times for us to hear something before it really sinks in and such. So we do bring you a lot of the same messages, and we do realize that we bring you a lot of the same messages, but we really want some of the things to sink in. And you know what? They have, Doug. You guys are doing great. We can ask for a better group, from hiring the right guys to training and keeping them informed of the changes.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons, and to talk a little bit about what we migrated into for training. It's not so much YouTube videos anymore, as I'm sure the guys are well aware with Sam Sarah, that we did end up getting connected training with them, and it's just a better delivery method. It goes right to your guys' tablets, and it also allows us to not punish the entire fleet when you have just a few guys that have repeat offenses, such as following too close. I don't have to send out a video that all 80 of you have to take a look at and do some training on. We can do individualized training, and it's just a little more specific to each guy and what he needs. And it's been working out pretty well, as long as they're taken care of, and as long as they're finished by the end of the month. They take 2 to 5 minutes, and you guys keep your bonuses, and we don't have to send out 100 videos a week to keep you guys informed of everything.
Well, one of the things, Doug, is I've noticed over time, and even sitting in our meetings here when we had drivers present, was misperceptions out there. Okay.
Yep.
That the guys, oh, I know I'm not supposed to speed, or oh, I know I'm supposed to do this or that. And then you come and find out it was a misperception on a law that they thought was in place, or a regulation and such. And you know, it's the goes back to, people will believe things that are on channel 19 out on the CB better than they will what the DOT or their company safety will tell them. And we're all working for safety. We're all working to get everybody home, and
Absolutely.
that's what the goal is there.
Yeah, that's and guys, make no mistake, this avenue does not close our doors here to where you guys can't come see us. I want to make sure you guys know that 100%. We still have an open door policy. This just kind of turns it into a digital open door policy where you guys can talk back to us. You don't necessarily have to be standing here if that makes you uncomfortable. But we also have done something else here that I want to kind of lead into. About a year and a half ago, I came to you, Rick, and I wanted to put together a safety committee. And you said, okay, let's do it. And it took me a year and a half, and it took a lot of you getting on my butt to get it done. But from now on, every year, starting the beginning of the second quarter, so April 1st is when we're going to do this, and also coincides with this podcast we're kicking off. We're going to have 5 of you guys out there in the fleet that are going to be, or can volunteer and help us be a part of the safety committee. And what this safety committee is going to do is they're going to review events. They're going to give us feedback. They're going to help us. I mean, the current gentleman helped us redo our orientation so it was more effective. And it has proved to be a very good change for us this year on how we're handling new drivers that come in. They're leaving, excuse me, they're leaving the building more comfortable, more informed, and a little more in tune to how we do things here. And I just want to take a quick moment here to reach out to these guys and let the rest of the fleet know, hey, Josh Shoop out there in truck 2301 on the flatbed side, you're going to see him. You can't miss him. He's 10 foot tall. We got Josh Hudson in truck 294, also a flatbed driver. Caleb Holtzberry is our owner operator that's in this. He is in truck 553. We've got Randy Eaton out there in truck 326 and Garrett Hall in truck 2502. Anytime you guys want to know who they are, get a hold of me. If you don't feel comfortable reaching out here, if you don't feel comfortable coming into the office and talking to us, these guys are your ambassadors to us. They have first-hand input into our policies for you guys, our trainings, and how things are changing here. So I want to make sure you guys know that you have that avenue too. It is more of a peer perspective. They're taking a look and giving a fair evaluation when you guys have accidents or incidents that, may happen out there where we need to take a look at fault and how that works. They have a vote in this, and that's why there's an odd number of guys. And I want to thank you, Rick, for allowing me the freedom to put this together and giving me the time to do that. Let me know, you pushed for me in the last 2 or 3 months here to get this going. Just let me know your thoughts on how you think it's progressing and what you want to accomplish with these guys with this.
Well, I wanted to back up just a little bit and give you guys a scenario of why we thought this was important. There's other companies that have this out there, and they seem to be working quite well. So I'm going to give a scenario. Okay, a driver turns a corner, or is it a job site or someplace, and does some type of damage. Okay, now it used to be, oh, gee, the we look at it, driver did it, driver caused action. There's a, you know, driver gets charged for this. We have to get it repaired on the road. Now what we're going to be doing is all these come before these drivers. They won't know who the driver is that did it, but they'll know the what had happened. The guy was turning and this happened, or this load did this, or whatever. So before we take any money away for any damages or anything, it goes before this board to say, okay, guys, what do you think? Were we, should the guy be charged or not? And it's quite interesting as we've gone some of these practice things through it, that some of the guys are like, yeah, he should be charged. And other times it's like, no, someone else say, let's take a look at this. Let's back up a little bit. And because we need to put ourselves in the driver's position at that time and what had happened and such. And could it be done something differently? And the other thing is, then we go to these guys, all right, how can we inform people out there of what has happened here and what needs to maybe be changed and such like that, and or how we can educate better.
Yes.
So I think it's very important that these guys are out there. It's going to take some of the burden off of us, and it's going to be on a group to say, hey, this is what's going on. And the other thing, and Doug, I don't know, Caleb is going to be on that as well, the shop, and he's going to give the shop perspective, because there's a time where the shop has got a viable participation in this as well. So we want to get his feedback on that from the shop's perspective as well, and we want feedback to be able to improve the shop, and the best way is to get it straight from the drivers and such. So really like the committee idea. Looking forward to how we do this. These guys are just out there like you guys, doing the same thing every day. Are they doing it perfect? No. Okay. They're doing the best they can. They have issues. One of them has already been brought before the board. We hardly got started and had an issue and such. So it is quite interesting how it works out. But we're just doing this as a way to reach out to you guys a little bit more, so you guys have we can get a better view of what's happening out there on the road, because it changes every day, guys, out there. We can sit here and just out on the interstates and highways. Now we got construction coming up, Doug. We got spring, happy spring and such here. So we're going to have barrels come out, and we're going to have, the arrows come out and such like that. All this is happening, the patience of it. We want to get you guys information as quick as we can about road closures or any type of detours and such like that. And all this is going to help, because it constantly changes out there, from day to day.
Yes, absolutely. Another thing that these guys helped me out with is, and especially over the last couple of weeks, we've been kind of testing this podcast to get it launched. All these guys got on here for the last 2 weeks. They've helped me dial things in, work out the glitches. Caleb out there in truck 553 has helped me test out some new technology in Samsara, trying to make it easier for you guys to log in, maybe with a QR code we hang in the trucks and things. Some of the stuff works, some of it doesn't, but big thank you to you guys out there. I know it's been kind of a rocky road here in the beginning because we're just testing things out. And one of the things I wanted to say about Caleb out there in the shop is, as I drove for 15 years, I was involved with a few different companies. One of the biggest things that I noticed was there was always a lot of tension between the shop technicians and the drivers out there. The shop believes the drivers tear everything up and don't know what they're talking about. And then vice versa. You have drivers that think that the techs aren't fixing anything. And it's just different here. Such a big difference not having that dynamic. Caleb's, very open-minded. He will listen to you. He does take your guys' concerns to heart, and he tries to get you guys the best equipment out there. And with him being the foreman, I think we've seen a lot of improvement. We only have one inspection this year with any type of equipment violation. So hats off to the shop out there as well. There is a lot to keep up with, and they do keep very, very busy trying to keep everything moving. So thank you guys out there. So Rick,
well,
go ahead.
One of the things here with these guys on this group, they're going to each have a seat in here as well on one of these podcasts to participate and to talk also for you guys. And Doug, maybe we need to go back and say a little bit. Everybody's going to be in here from the office. If you're a driver and you're in here on a Friday, you might get put on this and such like it, because we want the feedback. It can be a lot of fun for everybody. And like I said, we're trying to do this to educate and to keep you guys out there moving, keep you your time being utilized correctly and such. There's a lot of stuff going on in the industry here right now, and I'm just going to lead into a couple things. Man, anybody look at the fuel price lately? My goodness. Okay, again, the barrel is up over 113 today. Now that doesn't mean much, but it means that fuel is not coming down at the pumps anytime soon. So what does that mean across the board to you guys? it's going to mean that one, you're going to see fewer trucks out there. I think there's a lot of people that don't they can't operate in this type of market, and so you're going to see fewer trucks out there, and you're going to see a little bit more lag time out there. Sometimes we have to negotiate a little bit more with these shippers or brokers to give us a better rate. Dispatch here does a good good job on that, but we just ask you guys for patience in and through that. We have fuel at both terminals. Part of the thing is, people don't think about this. When fuel gets high, one of the things that still happens, people start diluting fuel. Okay. So at truck stops, all of a sudden, you'll start to see algae in some of this fuel. You'll start to see issues. We really, people fuel at our yards if you can. DEF as well. But yeah, I just heard on the news this morning that the EPA has allowed for gasoline is going to have way more ethanol in it and such like that. Well, ethanol is okay for these newer motors. You're driving an older vehicle, it's going to mess with it a little bit. So what we're saying is really kind of focus the fuel that you can back in these directions, and you're going to see some freight changes. This is all part of the game in which we play.
Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, it was 2 summers ago, or I believe 2 springs ago, that yeah, some of you guys that were around, I think Rob Athey, if you're out there, you got hit by this, where we had over at the Petro in Gaston, Indiana, we had 3 trucks go down in one day. Rick had to go retrieve them all for algae in there. So not just fluffy selling you guys, we really have had issues, and we do take extra steps with our fuel here. It gets treated sooner, it gets treated more often, so that it's safe for the trucks out there, and you guys aren't spending time broke down on the side of the road. Another thing with the fuel, guys, is the idling. Right now, you are in some optimal temperatures to open your windows, enjoy the fresh air. We've been cooped up all winter long with a colder than normal winter. So turn those trucks off at night if you can. One of the things that we do is we check that idling, and if we don't use it in fuel, that's something we can move over to that bonus and try to offer you guys, a bigger incentive than we already do each month to keep those trucks turned off. So I just wanted to say a few things about that for the idling. Also, like you said, Paulding and Oakwood, get fuel whenever you can. It's treated for the algae, and you should never have a problem with our fuel here.
So we're going, like we said, into the season here with construction and such like that. We want to make sure that you guys are just being more observant and such. It is going to be a long summer, I think, on some of this stuff. We're very optimistic, I guess, back here with the way freight looks. We're excited to have some new trucks that came in. We're excited about some of the trailers we've been able to acquire, and some that we have on order that we're kind of waiting on. So things are all good up pretty good, Doug. The safety scores are good. So we applaud the guys with that. We have an avenue here that we can discuss back and forth. So we really want you guys to use this as a time, if you are out driving and such, you have questions. Doug, I don't know. How do they get in?
So you guys out there, if you look at that app, it's a one touch. There's a little microphone there, and we do have it set to allow you guys to call in live. It'll allow us to have up to 10 of you guys on at the same time. That'll get a little hectic trying to talk over each other. But this one right here was more of information, letting you guys know why we moved to the podcast, what we hope to accomplish with it. And we're going to have some more topics. Like he said, we'll have guests every week that'll bring in a different perspective. It may be accounting one week to talk about why we need to have bill of ladings in a certain matter of time and what we're trying to accomplish there. It could be Justin talking a little bit of recruiting, maybe some incentives out there for, letting guys know we're looking for a few more drivers. But one way or another, we're going to get this done each week. We'll have a different person on, and it'll always be an open floor. I'll always have that toggled on for you guys to call in if we have any questions about the subject we're on. That's what this is for. This is for you guys to jump in there, say what you guys have to say. If it's a good idea, or if it's something you think that's not working out great, or something that's just bothering you, this is where we need to do it at, guys. So for the first episode here, we've been running this almost a half hour now. I'm going to open it up here. Randy, I see you out there. Any of my safety committee guys jump in just so they can kind of see how this works, if you would. You guys already know how to do the call-in procedure. So, all right, Caleb, I'm going to bring you in here and let's get this going. Caleb, can you hear me out there?
Yep, I can hear you just fine.
Hey, that works pretty good. I can't believe this technology for a cool guy like me works pretty good. No, I appreciate you guys being able to be able to participate like this. And like I said, we get busy here around the office. And that's a good thing. If we have people standing around, it really make me nervous. But we meet each other in the hallways and such like that. And we all got destinations we're trying to get to. So, Caleb, give me a good question here I can answer. Put me on the spot.
A good question.
Yeah, give me a good question.
You put me on the spot. I don't have a good question right now.
Well, it could be anything. How is freight looking in the future here? But I mean, what do you see with fuel prices? There's so many things you can pick from. Come on, Caleb.
How's the freight with New Mill looking for us flatbedders?
Well, we don't hold much out on vans out of this, so it's okay. It's mostly flatbed, but actually, it's very strong. It's really funny that in the last year we've heard this buzzword on having these data centers, and we've been hauling data centers for over 5 years now, really, for preparation of this. So what's happening now is are we doing some data centers? Yes, but really, there's a lot of other jobs going on. People are finding out that it's cheaper to build than it is to restore. So numbers are up at New Mill, SDI Lafarge. Numbers are up because people need materials for these centers and such like that. So overall, we're seeing freight up. Where the problem is, Caleb, with freight, and where it's really going to be hurting is if fuel's high on prices, people aren't going to build that deck on the back of their house this year. They're not going to go get a new barbecue grill and such like that. So that kind of consumer goods, if that makes sense, is going to slow down. And I'm really glad we don't do much with consumer goods and such. The other thing is like automotive. What are we seeing in the automotive trends right now? This is all new ground for automotive too. They continue to pump out vehicles, and Lord, I don't know who's buying the vehicles, Doug. I don't know. So no, good question. Appreciate that.
So kind of piggybacking off of that, I know that we're constantly looking at new equipment for the trucks, deciding what technology we want to put on them. Obviously, we've seen 3 brand new van trucks sitting out here. Moving forward, is that kind of what you want to see for a van truck when you bring it in? Is there anything you're going to be looking at for the new trucks coming into this year or towards the end of this year that you're wanting to put on there technology wise? Or, are we going to still stay with the VNRs for flatbed? Are those working out well? What are your thoughts on that?
So on the truck market and such, there's a change coming up in 27 here with new emissions. So there's a lot of what they call pre-buy. Guys go out and buy trucks early and such. We've kind of started that way early in this, clear back into last year, actually doing some pre-buy. But as far as new technology and such, right now, these new trucks have been a little bit more solid than we thought they had been. Very little issues. The VNRs that we got, those are rock solid and such. So we're pretty excited about the new technology. Basically is going to be more on the maintenance side. There's going to be more things on tire pressure checking because, guys, one of the big things is tires and getting that pressure, making sure it's right. Because the tire costs $600 or more. A regular road call is almost $1,000 now. So you're going to see a lot of technology coming on that, Doug. You're going to, I think that's where it's going to go next is on the technology side, is on the maintenance side of things.
Okay, so when you and Caleb, most people don't know, you guys took off last week or week before, I believe it was, and went down to a maintenance convention. I know Caleb came into our managers meeting we have on Tuesdays. kind of discuss what he got to see. But was that a lot of what you've seen down there? Was it technologically, I guess, the shop technologically advancing and what their diagnostic tools are, and should be able to get guys in and out of here faster with the trucks?
Well, one thing everybody knows is a truck that's broke down on the road hurts the driver, it hurts the company. Um, so a flat tire on the road, like I said, about $1,000 now to get it done.
Yep.
Anything we can do to get a truck back here or to get, we want to be more proactive than reactive. That's where the industrial is really going. Some people really hate technology, but it's coming down the road that, it'll tell you when something's about to break on your truck. So like a water pump now, it monitors the pressure coming out of that pump. So it knows if there's going to be a problem, and then it'll send us a message and say, hey, you need to check this out. And the goal is to, you hate to replace a good pump, but on the other hand, it sure is easy to replace it in your shop on your time versus what a driver's sitting at somewhere in Tennessee waiting to get their truck worked on.
Sure. Yes, it makes absolute sense. So, well, I think that is pretty good here for our first podcast. Guys, this is going to kind of be the format. Caleb, as you heard him come through there, he comes through loud and clear. He's just sitting on one of his headsets that he uses right in the truck. We tried to make it as convenient as possible with the one-touch call-in. And hopefully we can get people, buying into this and calling in. And
here's the buy-in. Okay, here's the buy-in is, okay, either we can get this to be good, or y'all have to come in here and see me on a Saturday morning or something. But I know a lot of them like to do that, Doug, though. And we have donuts sometimes, but I usually take over the extras. You can see why my shirt's tight. But no, I'm excited about this, Doug. I appreciate you doing this.
All right. Hey, BJ, you just have to call in. What did you want to say?
Yeah, going back to New Mill, is there any way of getting them to get the information for the trucks out a little bit quicker? We lose time sitting there waiting for truck numbers or the loads, and it gets very frustrating sometimes. I know this is an old story, but it's costing you money to have us sit there, and it's costing us money just to sit and wait.
So no, Brian, I really appreciate you bringing that, because sometimes some of those old stories are some of the best stories. Okay, and the whys and the wheres. We'll take New Millennium for example. We're deciding on those loads a couple weeks in advance. We don't know who the driver is going to be until the day of, or maybe usually the day of that needs picked up. And then we have to assign that driver to a trailer number. And part of it is sometimes we're really get to be tight on trailers, and guys that while they gag around sometimes and don't get back, maybe that's the trailer that they're bringing in. Let's say, Brian, you were coming out of Detroit with an empty trailer, and you were going to pick up a loaded trailer, and you get there and your trailer's loaded. Well, here's somebody here still waiting for their load. It might have been because we were waiting on that trailer you brought in to load the load. I'm not saying that's always the case, but sometimes that's it. We're trying to get more trailers over there and keep so that is not the issue. The other issue on that would be, they're busy, and they are trying to get their third shift up to speed to load more trailers on third shifts. So they don't have to do them on first shift. And it's a goal that we're trying to work with them. Like anywhere else, they have staffing issues at times too. So to train the guys to load the loads and such, it all takes time. So it's an old story, but no, I appreciate you bringing it up. That's really what I want, because, I want to be able to go back and talk to New Mill and say, hey, we're still having this issue. What can we do? What do you guys see and such? And likewise, what you drivers see that maybe could speed it up. But sometimes it's just the way it is. Hate to accept it, but it's what we have to do sometimes. So appreciate the call.
All right, Brian, thank you. We appreciate you taking time to call in right there. So, guys, That's going to end it for today. Just remember this. We're trying to save you the trip here with this. Please turn those trucks off and save us the fuel. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and we look forward to seeing you guys next Friday at 104. Have a great weekend and be safe.
Down at the new Millennium Gates, where the heavy iron waits, the dawn breaks cold against the diesel grates. You're cinching down the chains on a scale to the steel, feeling every pound through the steering wheel. Copper cores going like a copperhead snake, tied to the flatbed with no room for a mistake. It's a wide load gamble on a narrow strip road, carrying the weight of a monumental load. This is for the kings of the outside lane, the ones who conquer the mountain.